Africa has for years been associated with war and poverty, but now it's more associated with trade and investment. And HKTDC decided to send a mission to East and West Africa. Leading that mission was Edward Leung, the chief economist of the TDC. Edward, thanks for joining us. And why did you think now was the time to go on this mission to East and West Africa?
10 years ago, Africa was declared as some sort of the lost continent. Nowadays, some generalists put Africa as the promised land. And according to the IMF forecast or estimation, in the past 10 years, between 2001 and 2011, out of the 10 fastest growing economy, 6 are in Africa. And they grow on average 6 to 8% very remarkably. That is, the economic change opportunities there attract us to go over there. In the past decade, we have seen a profound changes in political institutions as well as economic development in the continent.
So the mission took in Ghana, Kenya, and Nigeria. Why those countries in particular?
Africa is a vast continent. We cannot expect that we can cover the continents so fast in one time. So we have to go to make some choices. For covering North Africa, we have to go to Egypt, Cairo. For the West Africa, you go to Nigeria for, say, Lagos. And for the South Africa, you go to Joburg. For the eastern part of Africa, you select Kenya. Nairobi is the hub for East Africa.
So you'd really see those countries as being, what, gateways to Africa?
Yes, there are two purposes. One, for those economies we select already a very large potential market for Hong Kong traders. Also, they serve as a hub or gateway to a particular region of the continent.
So Edward, you visited Kenya as part of the mission. What was it that most impressed you?
Apart from the lions or the wild animals, in terms of business, I found that there's a large population, well-educated young men and women looking for jobs and opportunities. In addition to that, we have seen an expanding middle-income class, common use of mobile phones, as well as the presence of international brands like, for example, some H&M, Zara, and Mango.
So electronics and fashion are the major sectors that you see in trade with Africa.
Clothing for the middle-income classes, as well as the consumer electronics, building materials, and machinery. The building material, you have seen that people get rich and then they build their house. Then they would like to have some building materials from Hong Kong or from the Chinese mainland. And in addition to that, they are going through the process of industrialization. They need a lot of machinery as well.
So we've talked about the upside, but what about the downside risks for traders who are going to Africa for the first time?
Of course, we have to understand that personal security is some sort of concern. Plan for yourself, and it is not impossible. So once you got a good planning, then you can go there safely, and also there are some hiccups that you can. Best way to do it is for better planning. For doing business, you got to have some local partners.
Well, Edward, you mentioned the promised land. Will those promises still be there, do you think, 10 years from now?
I cannot say that Africa, how far it will change as a continent 10 or 5 years later. But for a selected economy, for a selected country in Africa, there are good opportunities and potentials for them to turn into African lions like the Asian tigers, what we have seen decades ago.